Okay, good morning everybody. The topic that we're covering today is stress management. The main thing that we want to convey in this particular section is that stress is an effect, and like all effects, they have specific causes. What we tend to do, because of the nature of our own experiences, is that we tend to point the finger of blame in the external world when it comes to trying to figure out what is the cause of my stress. So I feel stressed, and then what I do is point my finger at the traffic or my family or my body or my political system or my whatever it happens to be. I say, because of that, I'm stressed. So the main thrust that we're going to get into for all of this lecture is the idea that stress is never caused by external environments. The external environment has trigger. It may have any number of triggers, but a trigger is not a cause. The cause of our stress is an ungoverned or an uncontrolled mind. So the cause of our stress is always internal. You know, you were talking earlier on about self-development and self-actualization and growth. One of the markers of our growth as a human being, self-development, is our capacity to guide and govern our emotions, our mind. This is the biggest challenge we face as human beings. This is the biggest marker of our maturity, is our capacity to govern our own minds. So the way that we gain our experiences in general is via this receipt-reaction-response mechanism. The external world presents us with stimuli, colour and form, sound, etc. Those stimuli then react with our personality, mind and intellect. Once we've completed that reaction, we then respond back into the environment with our actions. So the example that we often give when we're talking about this particular receipt-reaction-response mechanism is the Twin Tower attacks. So we say, imagine one person watching the towers fall down and he's shocked, he's disgusted, he's saddened, he's frightened, he's sorrowful, etc. That's his reaction. Another person observing the exact same stimulus. He celebrates, he's happy. His totally different reaction because of the nature of the internal personalities. The stimulus is exactly the same. The subjective experience is entirely different, diametrically opposed, because of the nature of the inner personality. So too, we are experiencing the same fundamental reality. We're all in the same world, as it were. But we all have different personalities, so we all experience it differently. Some with more stress, some with less. So what we're going to cover are the causes of stress. So if we're saying that the causes of stress are in the mind, then what it means is we need to understand what the mind is. So we can't control something if we don't understand it. So what this lecture is about, and what this chapter in the book is about, is educating us on the nature of the mind and how it can be related to with the intellect to establish some sort of guidance, governance, or control. So we're going to cover these four aspects. Any one of these aspects we can spend an hour on. So I'm going to touch on these relatively briefly. So recognize that as we're going through, there's a lot more depth into each of these different topics that we're going to cover here. So feel free to ask questions. If we get a lot of questions and we don't make it all the way through, that's fine. We can perhaps even split this up into 2 sessions.